Aviation authorities in Ghana have heightened their clampdown on travelers who test positive for coronavirus while traveling through any of their airports. Well, according to reports, the travelers are forced to pay $100 per night to isolate themselves in a hotel provided by the Ghanaian authorities. But reports say the amount paid does not give the affected persons access to water or food at the hotel. Additional reports say pleas were made to the authorities to a government isolation center in the city. The Ghanaian officials have declined the request and allegedly offered only antibiotics and vitamin C to the travelers who tested positive for the virus whilst on transit.
Okay, well, for more on this chat, we are now joined by Vanessa Rayner, who is a victim of this unfortunate situation. Hello, Vanessa. Tell us, you want to give us an update of what the situation is, I mean, with the traveler like you and others in the Ghanaian capital in Accra. Are you still at the isolation center in a hotel where you pay $100 bill, or are you off the hook of the health authorities there now?
I have officially left probably about 2 hours ago now. Arrived Monday morning early around 1:30 a.m. And was taken directly there to the facility, but stayed 3 days, and today around 6 p.m. we were tested, and then we were supposed to wait for our results to come through, but since the 3 days were up, I was allowed to leave. So I'm now back home staying with some friends.
It's incredible to hear. But Vanessa, unfortunately, we're hearing some not so pleasant reports concerning the way travelers are being treated in Ghana. You want to walk us through your own situation, and have you tested negative before you were allowed out of the isolation center?
So I haven't yet got the results through from today. However, I have been rapid testing every day since I arrived. And the morning that I flew, I did 1 PCR and 3 rapid tests, only hours before I then took the plane from Lagos to Accra, which is a 40-minute flight. So supposedly I caught COVID in that period, landed, and that's then when the result came through as positive. Since then, we've done rapid tests daily of our own accord because I had them with me. The doctor would not allow us to receive any outside medical treatment or pay for our own doctors to come in and retest us. He said it was Ghanaian protocol that we waited for day 3. However, today, the doctor even forgot to come and visit our facility. So some other facilities got treatment, or they got tested around 7 a.m. this morning, and nobody came to us all day. And so we were calling around whoever we could, different connections that we had. We managed to get a doctor to come and see us at around 6 p.m. But I think everyone was just tired of having to pay for a facility that we didn't expect to be in the situation with.
Well, Vanessa, I mean, this kind of treatment, how those of you who were forcefully kept in such isolation and had to pay $100, does that mean that if one had stayed for more than a day each day, you were paying the $100?
Yes. And as of today, so as of the 3rd day, they said that they stopped even providing any food for you. You had to pay extra for that. But I even had to pay extra for food to be brought to me into my room because I didn't want to eat around other people since we were supposed to be in isolation.
Right, and Vanessa, I'm looking at the protocols as released by the Ghanaian authorities, I think less than 2 weeks ago, but I know it came into effect on the 14th of this month. Just saying, if you're not fully vaccinated, there's a certain type of protocol that is set aside for you. But if you are vaccinated, the protocols are different, which is what is obtainable in most countries around the world. So looking at this treatment that you actually endured, I'm actually tempted to ask you, are you vaccinated? Are you fully vaccinated against the coronavirus?
I'm fully vaccinated.
As to the management of COVID-19 in that country. So what would you advise the authorities to do really differently, especially for travelers like yourself, you know, who is not from Ghana but wanting to visit their country? What can they do better to help people like you visit and have a smooth ride there?
So the day that I arrived, the airport was absolute chaos. Nothing seemed to be in order at all. So the way that it works is when you land, you have to do the rapid test, but already to fly, you have to do a PCR test. So in my opinion, they should make a decision whether they're accepting an antigen test or a PCR test to enter the country and decide what they're referring to as more reliable, because it seems that they wouldn't take a PCR result over the antigen result. As well, when you go through after you've taken the test, the day that I arrived, there was thousands of people in the airport. Nobody knew what was going on. People were waiting for a very long time for their test results. I personally think there's been mixing up with people's data, because on my antigen test result that I got through, it had the wrong passport information on it. However, my passport was then confiscated and no one would listen to you. No one would give you any information. It was just chaos. And then from there, I was taken to a room where I was kept for quite a long time before eventually being taken on a bus with a lot of people to different facility. The whole thing just was so unorganized. There is no COVID protocol in the facility that I was then kept in. People were just roaming around. Staff were walking in and out of the place. No one was being tested. There was no COVID protocol whatsoever. So there needs to be, they need to decide really how they want to keep this under control, because people aren't going to want to keep traveling here if there's a risk that they're going to have to be kept somewhere for 3 days, even though they may not have COVID, which is my case.
All right, Vanessa, let's hope the Ghanaian authorities would be reacting to some of the views and concerns you and other travelers have expressed. Vanessa Rayner, thanks very much for speaking to us on Newsnight.